This is a healthy carrot cake. It has lots of healthy ingredients in it, good fruits, and of course carrots. We're going to start by mixing our liquids. We begin with 1/3 cup plus 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. I put that in my measuring cup first because when we add the honey next, the oil is going to coat the measuring cup and make the honey and oil easier to pour into our dish. We're adding 1/3 cup of honey. That'll add flavor. That goes into our mixing bowl, and that honey poured right out because the oil was coating it. We add 1/4 cup of hot water, and then we're going to add our spices. We begin with a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then we're going to add another teaspoon of mace. This will give it a nice warm aroma as it bakes and adds lots of flavor. We're just going to blend those a little bit, let them set, and then we're going to mix our dry ingredients. We're going to start with 1 cup of flour. This is whole wheat flour, and again, has extra fiber and is going to give it a nice sturdy base to this cake. This cake isn't going to be fluffy like we might normally imagine our cakes to be, but more dense, almost a coffee cake kind of texture. Cup of flour in there, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. That's going to help it rise. And give it a little bit of lift there. I'm using a 1/2 teaspoon measure, so we did drop 3 of those in there. Once that's blended together lightly, we're going to add that to our liquid ingredients. There we go. It's going to be kind of lumpy. Again, it's going to look kind of like a coffee cake. Drop 2 eggs in there. Again, that's going to help it raise just a little bit. And now we add the carrots. So you could grate carrots. You could buy carrots and grate them. I'm cheating today. I'm going to use pre-grated carrots. We're going to take about 1/2 cup of those. This little candy measuring cup I use has the marks on the inside. So when it's sitting flat on the table, I can read the amount of ingredients I'm putting in. We're just going to store those in. We can add some raisins to that as well. Again, about 1/2 cup. The fun part of this is you don't really need to measure super accurate. And if you like nuts, some ground pecans or other favorite walnuts could go in there as well. All of those get mixed in there. We're going to stir it up. It's got a nice texture, doesn't it? It's full of raisins, carrots, and walnuts in that batter. Once they're blended, we're going to put them into our baking pan. This baking pan's been floured and greased and floured. One trick to make sure your cake comes out is to add a circle of wax paper and grease and flour that as well. And it will come out, your cake will always come out. We're going to transfer our batter to the cake pan, spreading that out. Using our rubber spatula, we're just going to smooth that out. This cake is full of goodness. And now it's ready to go in the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes or until a test's done when you stick it in with a toothpick. As that bakes for a 1/2 hour, it'll come out looking like this. Remember I said about using the wax paper? It comes right out of the pan. We're just going to peel that wax paper off. And place our cake right on the serving plate. Now this could be served just like this, or we can make a tasty topping of glazed carrot garnish to go on top of that cake. I'd like to show you how to make that next. Now that our carrot cake is out of the pan and cooling, we're going to make a different kind of topping to go on it. We're going to start with 2 tablespoons of butter, and to that we're going to add a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. We're going to let that cook a little bit until it mixes. We can just use a spoon to stir that together. Get that butter melted, and on this hot burner it's going to go pretty quick. As that bubbles up, we're going to stir in a ½ cup of carrots. Again, I'm using those shredded carrots that I got at the market, and a ½ cup of pecan pieces. Those are the same ingredients in the cake, but this little bit of sugar and butter is going to give them a little glaze and give them a little bit of sweetness that our cake really doesn't have a lot of, except for the honey. We're going to let those cook like that for about 5 minutes or so. We just want those carrots to get soft, and we want everything to get coated with the butter and start to soften a bit. Doesn't that look pretty? I like the color and the textures in this particular topping, because it's a little bit different. I think this would be good too. This could be you could use the same sort of topping on maybe with some vegetables. You could try some, maybe instead of carrots, you could try sweet potatoes, cut in strips. That's just going to cook a bit like that. After it's browned and cooked, can you hear it sizzle? It's goodness there. After that's browned and those carrots have gotten soft, it's time to serve our cake. We're going to just cut a wedge of this. And when we take a look, we see the carrots and the nuts that are and raisins that were in there before. You could serve this with a scoop of ice cream. You could put some whipped topping on it if you want to add a little more. Or you can just drop a spoonful of our carrot pecan glaze across the top. And there you have a very healthy and pretty dessert. Thanks for watching Silver Platter. If you would like a copy of this recipe or more information on nutrition, please go to frederickcountymd.gov/senior services.